Hello, good evening. I'm Ernest Mino. Our headlines on our Prime Desk tonight. Fix the Country demonstrators vow to stage series of protests across the country until the numerous challenges, including youth unemployment and high cost of living, are addressed.
We are tired of the lies. Article 71 office holders are lies. It is bogus. It is a calculated attempt to steal us. We are tired of the mendacilloquence, the zabanism, and the political prostitute.
More from them as the police justifies its heavy deployment to the demonstration. Also tonight, Ghana Health Service confirms the outbreak of Scabies disease in the Yonyo district of the Northeast region.
That scratching my body. It is some liquid is coming out.
Latest accident data from the Police Motor Traffic and Transport Department shows 256 people were killed on our roads in July alone. For our Drive Safe campaign tonight, we look at the deadly pedestrian crossing imagined on the Accra-Tema motorway.
I lost my friend just last year. She was also going to school like me. Yes, and then she decided to use this place and I can't knock her down.
In business, the Institute of Economic Affairs calls for a comprehensive debt management strategy to ease Ghana's debt service burden.
It's not the debt stock itself that should be seen as a problem. The stock, in other words, whether it's 4 billion, because you are not going to pay all of it today. Some have longer maturities.
We have details of these and more coming to you live here on Joy News Prime, which is coming to you from our studios here at Fanofa in Kokomlemle in Accra on your digital terrestrial TV, because we are free to air on DSTV channel 421, GoTV 144. This is your home of independent, fearless, credible and impactful journalism. Stay tuned in. And tonight we start from the Northeast region. The Ghana Health Service has confirmed the outbreak of suspected scabies disease in the Yonyo district of the region. The highly contagious skin disease has so far affected about 400 people in parts of the district. Those affected complain of intense itching and burns at their private parts, with some of them having open sores all over their bodies due to the excessive scratching. Johnny's correspondent Ilyasu Tanko has been speaking to some patients who say the disease is making life seriously unpleasant. Viewer discretion is advised.
According to the Ghana Health Service, the disease was initially reported in the area in December last year, but disappeared while authorities were mobilizing to treat the victims. However, in June this year, the disease re-emerged and has since spread in over 10 hard-to-reach villages of the district. Villages include Nabal, Sangbal, Nangbal, Piabuni, Sangbani, Bingbani, Bankurgu and other parts of the Tuna electoral area have reported cases. At King Kong, the epicenter where a large-scale infection of the disease has been confirmed, the villagers, both young and old, shared their plight.
This particular disease came as a surprise to us. We didn't know how it came about and then where it emanates from. So that was last year, December 2020, that this particular disease came to this community. But what I can talk about is how it disturbs people in this community. Me, myself, it has affected me, and I can share my experience with you. My buttocks is like pimples. It is when I start scratching my body, it is some liquid is coming out. It is like pimples, and there is boils around my buttocks and then the private part. So when I scratch like this, it's either blood that will ooze out or some liquid that will come out. Though I don't feel the pain, but I will feel scratching continuously. You see that every night when you start scratching, you scratch till daybreak, non-stop. So that is how the disease disturbs us. And then it is farming season. When you go to farm, you can work. Immediately you start weeding and your body become wet or sweat start coming out. Then you stop there and start scratching your body. It's not only children that it affects, but children and adults. Everybody.
Yeah, it's very dangerous. All her children has been affected, and in the night, the children will be crying that she should be scratching their bodies. While she's also scratching her own, the children will also be crying other side that she should be scratching their. She's a mother of 7, and all these 7 children has been affected. How can she scratch all their bodies, including her own?
This
has covered everybody in the community, and as an elder person in the community, he himself has also been affected. So the children in the community, all of them are suffering. As he's sitting, it's about 6 months now. He don't know what they call sex. He can't even, make love with the wife. The wife private part is been affected. Him himself has been affected.
The victims, after diagnosed by a community nurse, failed to heal them, are now resorting to their normal traditional method to treat the disease. Some of them are drinking boiled herbs recommended by traditional chief priests in the area. The Ghana Health Service in the Yoyo district has confirmed the outbreak, but is yet to take any action. The residents are asking for immediate help.
People are very angry that we have been neglected. This issue has been reported for long and nothing has been done about it. District health director, whom I feel he has neglected the community, should try his best. It's not over yet. We still need his help. He should, work hand in hand with the regional director, and then they should get us help so that the people can feel better and continue their normal duty.
Ilyasu Tanko reporting.
Now, the Accra-Tema motorway has been caught up in the urban sprawl with settlements on both sides of the road. These settlements have come with countless unapproved crossings where many people are being killed. For our Drive Safe campaign, Maxwell Aduba interacted with both drivers and pedestrians who fear more people will die if nothing is done about the situation.
It is a hot afternoon and I'm on the Klagon section of the Tema motorway. About 100 meters away from where I'm standing is a young female student. She's carrying what is popularly called the Ghana Must Go bag. She has been standing there for the past 10 minutes. Like many others, she's waiting until a safer time to cross. The young lady I later got to know as Betty Kote, a 16-year-old second-year SHS student. Betty's friend Vanessa, who was also a student, died on this section of the motorway. She was on her way to school. Thoughts of that crash, she tells me, makes her very nervous whenever she comes across the highway.
It's very dangerous because the cars are moving very fast and none are ready to allow us cross. So I think if there's an overhead here, it will help a lot because I was struggling a lot to cross the road. So it's very dangerous. I lost my friend just last year. She was also going to school like me. Yes, and then she decided to use this place, and I can't knock her down.
Here at Klagon, majority of the residents I've been speaking to, they tell me about the daily risk of crossing the motorway here at this section. Many of the vehicles are speeding beyond 100 kilometers per hour.
So that's 12 hours.
I've met another young lady, Beauty Doe. She sells biscuits and drinks at the Klagon lorry station. The woman who used to sell very close to her was one Hajia. Hajia used to sell kola nuts at the station. She was killed some months ago when she tried to cross the motorway to her home.
It was Saturday. We are also from Monday to Saturday. So Saturday we are all here from Monday to Saturday. So Saturday when she came, we were all here, we chat, we play, we do things, and we were like, oh, today you look beautiful, like a joke. So normally she closed around 5 to 6 that way, and she left. But as for me, I closed around 8. So the next day, Sunday, I was in the house and they called me. The woman had an accident on the motorway. I said, oh, what happened? And they said, she's crossing and can't make it. A lot of life have been lost on this road. A lot.
A lot of communities have sprung up. Residents we've been interacting with here seem to know someone who was knocked down and killed by a car whilst crossing the motorway. They are calling on authorities to do something about the situation.
Drivers who ply the Tema motorway are equally concerned about the dangers involved. They say it is more dangerous at night, especially at poorly lit sections of the highway. One of them told me how he skidded off into a bush when he tried to avoid knocking down a man who was in black clothes and crossing at a dark section of the road. Emmanuel Wood is a driver. He says 2 weeks ago he had to carry a woman who was knocked down to the hospital.
We are not supposed to cross the motorway. But these days, see, there are buildings around. There are buildings around. If you are to cross, the first thing is to wait till the moving cars to stop. If you meet somebody who is kind, the person will stop and stop the coming cars too, so that you can cross. Otherwise, that's you don't know, because somebody will stop, the other one to coming from other side wouldn't know somebody is crossing, and there will be an accident almost every week on the motorway, almost every week.
Many of Satetekwashi interchange, most pedestrians show caution to the wind as they cross the road. Some motor riders have also taken advantage of the situation to do unapproved U-turns. General Secretary of the Ghana Private Roads and Transport Union at Shashi and its Legon branch, Obed Tando, says the situation is worrying to drivers who have to be careful not to run into persons crossing. He says they have witnessed many of such situations.
It's a highway, you know, so definitely on the motorway, when the cars are passing by, some people attempt to cross to the mall and they wanted to use the motorway, and through that, as you know, it's a motorway, definitely it happens. So some few years back, especially let's say 2018, 2019, it was rapid happening. It was happening. So as a union, we were then taxi. Okay, so when they come, we tell them to pick drop-in. But then some of them going to the mall have to pick drop-in 10 cities, 5 cities here and there. It was difficult for them, so in a way they wanted to cross. Before they realized they are knocked down by a vehicle.
Inshallah. I have a lot of stations.
Muhammad Tijani is a Okada rider. He has witnessed many deaths during these illegal crossings on the Tema motorway.
Some girl be students. She come from some place. She won't cross the road. I think somebody called her. She was even called before she realized the car knock her go up before she fall down. Can't pass in top. Just here. At the same time, some girl come from job again. She carry paint. If you watch the ground, you can see the paint. I think fortunately you can't knock her to all the paint pour for in top, but she no die. But the first one, the first girl, she dead. Even she stomach things all come out. Wow. I'm the one, Tijani Mohammed. Police people come, even though I'm the one go buy rubber and put her inside.
It's a motorway. The vehicles will obviously continue to speed, and the crossings will continue to pose a danger to everyone.
Let me take you now to the Volta region. Former President John Mahama's urgent government to suspend the rolling out of new infrastructure projects and focus on completing the existing ones. His concerned projects like the Afageji and Salokope Sea Defense in the Ketu South municipality, which was started under his tenure has been suspended since the NPP took over in 2017. He is worried the situation is resulting in the destruction of homes by tidal waves. The former president on Wednesday joined members of the Volta caucus in Parliament to present relief items to residents whose houses were destroyed in the latest incident in May.
Now, if you look to the left, you see the end of phase 1 of the sea defense that we did. It ended in 2016. It was supposed to be extended eastwards so that it would have covered the communities that are currently affected. Unfortunately, it has, stalled. And so, because of climate change and because of rising sea levels, the sea, has adverse effects both in terms of flooding and in terms of erosion on communities that are on the sea line. And so here is part of Agaveji. That's the community that we visited. This is part of that community. And you can see that because the sea defense ended there, all the buildings that were here up to over there have all been eroded. They've been washed away. There were houses here. Where we're standing, there were houses. And they've all been washed away. It's the same for the other 2 communities. And we just came to see what the devastation is. We've done the presentation, and we hope that your advocacy would also trigger some response from government to come and continue the sea defense and cover these communities so that it protects them from the ravages of the sea. It's a major problem. Everywhere you go in the country, you find projects left by previous governments that were not continued. And that is why we said that when we come into office, for the first year of being in office, we're not going to start any new projects. We're going to use the resources to continue and finish all the projects that have been abandoned by previous governments. And I think that that's what we should do. I mean, you don't go building a new secondary school when you have a secondary school that has been abandoned, and so I think that's what government should do. Suspend new projects, spend the resources and finish, ongoing projects and existing projects. And then after that, you can continue with new projects.
The former president is meanwhile urging supporters of the NDC not to be discouraged and disappointed by the 2020 election loss. Speaking in the K2 South constituency in his first public engagement since the election petition, he urged the party members to focus on reorganizing the party and electing new leaders.
This is virtually my first public outing after the election of 2020. And so I want to take the opportunity through you, the people here in Agaveji Summit Traditional Area, to thank all our brothers and sisters in the Volta region for the strong support that you showed for me during the election. You didn't disappoint me at all. You did your part. You did your best, you did your part. And so I want to thank you very much for that support. Let us not be disappointed, let us not be discouraged. They say he who fights and runs away, or he who fights and loses, lives to fight another day. And so what we need to do is to focus on reorganizing the party, selecting a new leadership, and getting a flag bearer to lead us back into the next battle. And I'm sure that in 2024, by the grace of God, NDC will come back into office. God bless you.
The Member of Parliament for K2 South, Jifa Gomashi, said repeated calls on government to complete the sea defense project has fallen on deaf ears. You're watching Johnny's Prime with me, Ernest Mina. Still to come, Fix the Country demonstrators vow to stage series of protests across the country until the numerous challenges, including youth unemployment and high cost of living, are addressed.
Tired of the lies. Article 71 office holders are lies. It is bogus. It is a calculated attempt to steal us. We are tired of the mendacilloquence, the zabanism, and the political prostitute.
Many thanks for staying with us here on Joy News Prime. Now, the Fix the Country movement, which started only as a Twitter hashtag, has now morphed into a movement that wants to put Ghana's political class on its toes. In a demonstration held in Accra on Wednesday, many of the members, clad in red and black, held placards that read, "Fix the roads, fix our education system," among others. The protesters, mainly young people, are complaining about the lack of jobs, corruption and poor infrastructure and want government to fix the country immediately. Manuel Cranton was at the demonstration and now reports.
Arise, youth for your country. The nation demands for devotion. Let us all unite to abortion and make strong.
After 3 months of back and forth with the police that traveled through the country's courts, finally, one of Ghana's most talked about demonstrations happened on Wednesday. What started as a Twitter hashtag has now morphed into a movement that is seeking to put Ghana's political class on its toes. From as early as 6 a.m., people were already massing up.
The scores of demonstrators on the principal streets of Accra today, August 4, with varied placards with various inscriptions. Womane in Ghana translates as "This is our country." Those supposed to serve eat more than the ones they serve. These are placards that they are hoisting. Fix the responding ex gratia now. A lot of the other placards all pointing to the same spot, that various sectors of the economy and other spaces of national life which need attention must be fixed now.
I think that's very important that we show that we reject the attitude of the government and we want to create a culture of dissent. It's important that we create a culture of dissent. We show our disapproval.
We are tired of the lies. Article 71 office holders are lies. It is bogus. It is a calculated attempt to steal us. We are tired of the mendacilloquence, the zabanism, and the political prostitute.
Since Ekufuado came into government in the last 5 years, how many of the community high schools that Mahama was building, how many of them has he completed? How many of these children have not been sitting under these schools and the trees for the last 4 years? Recently, we saw that they said the rosewood that's been exported illegally, they're going to donate it to the cathedral. Would it not be better used if we use it to build schools for these children who are going to schools under trees?
This is rare. Demonstrations in Ghana have largely been led by the two major political parties, the NPP and the NDC. This is different. Here's one of the lead campaigners, Ernesto Yeboah.
As you can see, this is the youth of Ghana speaking. They are tired of NPP, NDC moribund leadership. They are sick of the system. And this is the time for them to voice their concerns. But more beyond it is the fact that today, August 4, is a rebirth of Ghana. And this in itself is a manifestation of that rebirth. But this is not the end, this is actually the beginning. If there are no leaders, the youth will rise up and lead this country to a better future. And that's simply the message we are sending to the rest of the world.
But of course, I'm sure the rest of the world is listening. There's no particular thing that you are requesting to be fixed. Run us through why we're not asking for A to be fixed or B to be fixed, but it seems to be a round of a lot of things.
We won't allow them to fool us anymore. We are not presenting any list to them. Nobody's voice is more than the other. Nobody has more than one vote. We are all equal and we all deserve to be listened to, because we are citizens of this country. If they care, if they are leaders enough, there is only one thing we expect from them: to listen, and to listen to each and every one of us. This is why we are not presenting any list.
This may be one street protest and hundreds have joined, but there are thousands of others who have joined the protest on virtual platforms like Twitter, where it all started. Madam Ifiatenge speaks for Accra Region Police.
The leadership has been very cooperative in our discussions as far as the routes are concerned. And so this is the route that we have earmarked purposely for this demonstration. So and I'm surprised that when we got here, and you can see those who are insisting on going straight, they were the people who were not parts of the initial agreements. And so the leadership are aware, they are asking us to exercise restraints and that they are going to ensure that their followers adhere to the routes that have been earmarked.
Talk to me about COVID protocols. There was a definitive instruction that people must adhere to COVID protocols if they want to join the march. What's been your observation and how do you assess it?
Yes, for COVID protocols, I keep on saying, and the command's position has always been that for such a gathering of this nature, it is always impossible that people would adhere to all the COVID-19 protocols, especially when it has to do with the physical distancing. And so for crowds like this to adhere and also observe the spacing, that one, it's not possible. For that one, I know that they are going to flout it, or there's going to be some breaches. But for the wearing of mask, we know that it has been very basic, and we have admonished each one of us to take personal responsibility of their own safety.
After more than 5 hours of walking through the principal streets of Accra, the protesters converged at the Black Star Square to round up proceedings. They say this may be the first of many more to come. For now, though, it waits to be seen whether this would be enough to indeed get the country fixed. Reporting for Joy News, Manuel Cranting.
Still on the Fix the Country protest, demonstrators say they will continue to pile pressure on government until the country's problems are fixed or addressed. The organizers, who described Wednesday's protest as a success, announced it will be replicated across the remaining 15 regional capitals. There's more in this report.
It was a charged atmosphere after speakers who took turns to address the crowd chronicled what they see wrong with the country's governance system. The central message at the Independence Square was the need for a new constitution. The leaders of the group argue that the 1990 constitution favors political actors instead of the ordinary Ghanaian. Former presidents since the inception of the Fourth Republic were accused of being the main architect for the country's wobbling economic status. One of the leaders of the group, Oliver Bakafumao, addressing the crowd, announced that the group will continue to stage similar protests across the remaining 15 regions.
We are all hungry in this country, and we won't allow tribalism to divide us. From here, we are going to Kumasi, Tamale, Ho, and because we want all of us to participate in this demonstration. It's a 419 republic. We will resist the Sakawat 1992 constitution.
A 419 republic. 419 republic. It's a 4th republic. Article 71 republic. Yeah, baby.
Some of the protesters who spoke to Joy News say they will be disappointed should government fail to address their concerns.
The generation want to tell the leaders of the country that indeed whatever that is going on, they are aware, and the effect of it, they can feel it, the essence of it, they understand it. If it doesn't yield positive result, that means the president is not a listening president. If the president is a listening president, the Minister of Information should have been here. Some important leaders of the country might have been here. Because this is not a political rally, it's not a political campaign, it's not a political demonstration.
I believe that whatever that we sought to tell the people, we sought to tell the leaders, they've heard us. And if they do not do whatever we ask for, we are coming back again. I believe so. I feel it.
So you think this will yield the necessary or positive result that you expect?
Yes. And even if it does not yield it, we are coming back again. I believe so.
Even before the start of today's demonstration, Some health experts were concerned it could cause a spike in the country's COVID-19 cases. Joy News cameras captured the blatant disregard for some of the protocols. Felicity Nelson, one of the conveners, said the group will not accept any blame should there be a spike in the country's COVID-19 cases.
Chief Medical Director of the Ghana Health Service, actually after Christmas, after the elections, when the numbers went up, actually mentioned that there's no evidence that shows that open air events leads to a spike in cases. So as far as I'm concerned, he's the Chief Medical Director of the Ghana Health Service, so I'm going to take his word for it. So if we cannot attribute us going for elections, even though there was COVID in the system, and us going on all these health walks and whatever before the elections, if that did not lead to the spike in cases, why then should we take responsibility for a spike in cases now because we've been on the demonstration?
Over 5 crowd control vehicles and over 15 pickup vehicles packed with armed police officers were deployed to escort the demonstrators through the designated routes. But the Accra Regional Police Public Relations Officer, DSP Efiatenge, responding to the concerns, explained the reason for the deployment.
The police deployed based on our own assessment of the events that we have today. And so I don't think anybody should question the police's security arrangements for this particular exercise. It is a demonstration, and so it wasn't for anything that the law requires that if you want to embark on a demonstration, notify the police for the police to prepare adequate security arrangements for it. So if we have done so, I don't think anybody should question the police's deployment for this exercise.
I think the numbers are okay.
So to us, if we think that this was the best that we could deploy to ensure a successful event, and we have achieved it.
Ghana has witnessed a steep rise in COVID-19 cases within the last 2 weeks. According to the Ghana Health Service, the situation has also caused an increase in hospitalization and deaths. A month ago, Ghana's case count was 1,600. As of August 4, the figure arose to 6,766 with 864 deaths. Director General Dr. Patrick Kumar-Boaji, who briefed the media on the country's case count on Wednesday, expressed worry the situation may worsen if there's continuous blatant disregard for the protocols. Hannah Odame was at the briefing and our reports.
Ghana has recorded a total of 106,434 confirmed cases. So far, 98,840 recoveries have also been recorded. The Volta, Bono and Bono East regions are now emerging as hot spots with significant rise in COVID-19 cases there.
There's been a very steep rise in the active cases in the last 2 weeks. We have increasing hospitalization and deaths. We are having some emerging hotspots outside Accra and Kumasi that we know of. That is now we have Volta having new cases. Bono and Bono is also sharing some cases. We also have workplace and school outbreaks taking place. The last second we peaked at about 8,000. And if nothing is done urgently, in the next 1 or so weeks, we might just cross the 8,000 mark. So there's a lot that we all need to do.
The Director General also gave updates on the cases at the Kotoka International Airport.
As at 7 a.m. on the 4th of August, we've had a total of 2,407 cases, which represent about 0.59, about 0.6% of all those who have been tested. The month of July, they recorded the highest number of cases among our international airports since the 1st of September. So last month was the highest level that we ever peaked since we started testing at the airport.
These figures, which add to the country's case counts, makes Dr. Kumar-Boaji worried.
The third wave is on its way up, and we hope that we work, and we all of us, not just the health sector, including the people, will be able to avert this by applying the protocols.
Also at the presser was the Chief Executive of the Food and Drugs Authority, Delise Mimi Dako, who responded to the concerns about the antigen diagnostic system that is being used at the Kotoka International Airport for COVID-19 tests.
It is an antigen testing system. It is not a rapid diagnostic cartridge system. So it's not like the ones that you can buy in the box and you can use yourself, what that people are using at home. Now, with the other test kits, you drop your sample on it or whatever, whether it's a swab, whatever, and the line comes and you read it with your naked eye. Now, with this particular device, meets our specification of not less than 99% sensitive and not less than 99% specific. Which means that when you say specificity, if it is negative, it should be negative. If you say sensitivity, if it is positive, it should be positive.
For Joy News, I am Hannah Odami.
And our Menasmin will join us prime live from our studios here at Kokomlemle. Coming up in business, the Institute of Economic Affairs calls for a comprehensive debt management strategy to ease Ghana's debt service burden.
But it is not the debt stock itself that should be seen as a problem. The stock, in other words, whether it's 4 billion, because you are not going to pay all of it today. Some have longer maturity.
Hello, my name is Daryl Kwao. Time to bring you some business on Joy News Prime. We begin with Ghana's debt crisis. The Institute of Economic Affairs is calling for a comprehensive debt management strategy to help ease the country's debt service burden. The country's debt levels have surpassed the dreaded 70% debt to gross domestic product ratio mark, a situation which compelled the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank to classify Ghana as a highly debt-distressed country. Ghana presently spends 56% of tax revenue to settle interest payment. Dr. John Kwache is the Director of Research at the IEA, and he says Ghana's debt may remain above the threshold for several more years to come.
December, at the end of 2016, the debt level was 122.2 or 56.8% of GDP. He said that's what we inherited. You know, that's what they inherited. And as of June, they have taken us to 334.6 billion or 77.1% of GDP. So the opposition will subtract the two figures and say, this is what you have added on. And it is a fact. The IMF, in the last Article 4 consultation with Ghana, they've released a report. They described Ghana as having a high risk of debt distress. That's the exact words they used. Ghana is facing a high risk of debt distress. But then they also added that they think the debt profile is manageable. But what I want you to understand is that, in fact, it is not the debt stock itself that should be seen as a problem. The stock, in other words, whether it's 4 billion, because you are not going to pay all of it today. Some have longer maturities because they issued euro bonds and so on. Some even have 30-year maturities. Exactly. So that debt stock, it will wait for you people, the future generations.
In other news, about 3,500 woodworkers at Kasi, Angola in the Ashanti region fear losing their source of livelihood with a planned eviction from the operational land. The workers have been operating in the area for decades but have to move away for a new project on the land. Now, processes have already begun to demolish structures used by the woodworkers. There's more in the following report.
The Angola Mini Millers and Sellers Union consists of 3,500 members. They occupy a vast 38 acres of land at Kasi. Woodworkers here include carpenters, T&G manufacturers and tomato box producers. Sister, a tomato box producer, has employed 20 workers. She fears she will be rendered jobless after the eviction.
almost and this is a girlfriend. And I weigh and toast, and I will share fish. The whole fishing harbor, me quite in the public to do so great. So to me, I stand no more go and because we.
I supply the fishing harbor with crates. I have nowhere to send them.
Other traders at this enclave are those into the recycling of polythene waste and producers of other plastic products. They say the sector contributes to employment and revenue generation.
Now, I'm having 10 workers, and we are doing our best. And even if things go on well, I can employ more than that. Yes. So we are appealing to the government to help us, or the authority involved to help us.
Some of the woodworkers have operated at Kase, Angola for more than 30 years. They detail how they have single-handedly developed the area. To them, the move by the city authorities to evict them is unfair.
We have managed to drive away the criminals.
We have the skills to work. If we are evicted, how do we get jobs?
The 38-acre Kase Angola land is alleged to have been sold to the Jute Mill Ghana Limited. Plans are underway to relocate the traders to a 3-acre land close to their current location, but they have refused to accept the offer. The traders say the allocated land is too small to accommodate them. The area also lacks basic services like electricity. George Teria is organizer of the Angola Millers and Sellers Association.
The can say, "Ma be am for machine and maha." Kosi say, "Ombaba na ye ni enyina betrase." Ni ewu ba ko to asase no senti otoye. Na asase ya transfer office 90.
No authority should think of demolishing this place. We have to sit, talk, and reach an agreement.
No, that's asase no bi no. And the chair saying the enye yi.
And that's business for now. Sports is coming up next with Hans. Don't go anywhere.
Many thanks for staying with us. Time to bring you sports. My name is Hans Mensando. Veteran sports journalist Kautufor believes no player has had a more commanding performance at the Africa Cup of Nations than Abedi Pele did in 1992. The Maestro led the Black Stars to the final, beating the likes of Zambia and Nigeria, en route to the final, but lost a marathon penalty shootout to the Ivory Coast. Kautufor said this has been saying this ahead of the first edition of Rewind, a new series which will delve into the backstories of Ghana's major sporting history.
Itself. Look at the goals that he scored. Zambia, phenomenal. Picking the ball, running at people, and just, oh my goodness. I have never seen a player dominate a tournament so much, at least for the African Nations Cup. You can talk about Maradona in '86, yeah. The '86 World Cup. But this one, Africa, no. Pele was absolutely here than everywhere. And that's why I'm adamant that whether it had been Otto Fisau, it had been Kwesi Appiah, it had been CK Jampio, if Pele had played in that final, we would have won, no doubt. It wouldn't have gone to that draw, goalless draw, and then all penalty. We would have won, no doubt. We would have found a way to get the goal.
Of course, Rewind airs this Saturday at 4 p.m. on the Joy News channel. Let's get into some mental health issues, and mental health among sports athletes have become a topic for discussion in recent weeks. The likes of Naomi Osaka, Simone Biles and Christian Pulisic have been vocal on this important topic. The Vice President of the Ghana Sports Writers Association, Morris Kwanzaa, says Ghana needs to incorporate mental therapy into our sports.
Even for somebody as mentally tough and as super confident as Abedi Pele, there was only one time I remember in my career that he expressed pessimism. That was the match, that was in Burkina Faso, the night before we played our last match that we got kicked out. Myself and Kififi Banson and Dr. Hammond from our, I don't know if it's still the ambassador to Egypt, those Middle East. Went to visit them at there. And he said, he had a feeling that we could lose the match because he went to the boys, their rooms, and they were just not focusing. Andrea, you 2005 at the Under-17 World Cup in Peru. He wasn't there, but I asked Coach Prince, who was very close at coaching.
There's more sports at myjoyonline.com. My name is Hans Mensah and Ernest.
Thank you very much, Hans, for the latest in the world of sports. That's it for Joy News Prime. There's more news at myjoyonline.com.